Hey everybody, it's Kashawn. Welcome to my channel. I'll just give a moment for anyone to join. Thanks for joining. Yes, I almost drowned on my honeymoon. Me and water have a love and hate relationship, but we had a good time. So in the last video, if you were able to watch, I explained how I had to pretty much passed the news to my mom about the fact that I was about to be married. So I did decide to get married. She gave a really interesting response. You can watch my first video about that. So we're married, and fortunately, we had an opportunity to travel to Jamaica, beautiful island, beautiful people, and we were in the water. This is like November, so it is their winter, but the water, it was beautiful. The weather was beautiful. I went into the water. I can't swim, but I didn't go so deep. The water was probably about to my chest level, a little beneath my shoulders. My husband was with me. He's a bit taller than me. So, we're just having fun, chilling in the water. I must have taken like one step to the right and I found myself underwater. It happened so quick. I panicked. I was just thrashing about, trying to get my feet back onto the sand under the water. I could not feel the bottom under me. I was trying to pull myself up to breathe, swallowing salt water. My husband's freaking out because I'm freaking out. He's trying to calm me down and pull me over. I'm doing this for like a couple of seconds to the point where I just gave up and figured, you know what, I need to ask for help. So thankfully, there were two men working on a boat on the shore, right on the sand. And at first they looked at me and they weren't sure what I was doing. But then they figured out, oh, she's drowning. And so thankfully, they came over and helped me out of that spot that I was in. And I was so grateful. I told the gentleman, I was like, oh, thank you. I almost drowned. And he said, yeah, it gets a little deep over there sometimes. And I said, gets deep? It didn't really get deep. It just sort of deeped. Like get it deep is what I experience in a pool where it just gradually gets deep. But I was just grateful to be alive. So I thanked him again. And he said something that it's a common saying in Jamaica, but in the moment, it was just so ironic. He said, no problem. And when I think back at the situation, I just can't help but to think about the fact that there are many times when in life I can feel like I'm in over my head, like I'm drowning, and I'm pretty much throwing my hands all over the place, trying to find footing. And even once I finally find footing and I walk out of the situation, sometimes it's a temptation to go over and over the story in my head. And I couldn't help but to really think about the fact that he just said, no problem, pretty much like carry on. Because it's so hard in a moment when you're coming out of a situation like this to have that kind of perspective on life and to not dwell on what just happened. Thankfully, in that situation, me and my husband was able to enjoy the rest of the honeymoon. And we had a great time. And we always think about the vacation that we had there, with great thoughts. But there are many times when we can just get caught up in thinking about, oh man, I almost drowned. I almost just didn't make it. And it could really almost dampen the rest of the journey. And so I just really thought of that. And I wanted to encourage you, no matter where you're at, if you're finding your footing or if you're, throwing your hands in the air trying to survive, that you will find your footing. But once you do, I just want to encourage you to move on and to know that, yeah, it gets deep over there sometimes, but in the end, no problem. Your feet are on solid ground or sand, wherever you're at, and just move on. And just know that you can still continue in your journey and continue with what you aimed to do. And I definitely wanted to share that story to encourage and inspire you with that thought in mind. I want to thank you again for those who are joining. I see we have uh, someone in the chat. We have Superstar in the chat. Why Superstars in the chat? Thank you so much for joining. And I hope you have an inspired day. Thank you.